A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars was something really, truly special. Well, specialer because it happened maybe every 15 to 20 years, and then sometimes you got a cartoon or a video game or a series of very well-written novels or a series of very poorly written novels. But now there's new Star Wars content every year, and I use content very derisively because it isn't just Star Wars movies, TVs, or video games, it's just Star Wars product meant for consumption. Well, I'm not under the impression that it was never not made for mass consumption. It's a franchise, but it's nice when some of those things actually come close to feeling like cinema. You know, like Empire Strikes Back or Andor, Rogue One, or just something truly fun and surprising like Skeleton Crew. Yes, I didn't expect to like this thing, and I really do. So today we're going to talk about the first two episodes, what was good, what was bad, and what I genuinely hope for. I'm Dan Umpton, and this is the Doomcast. Alright, first off, do me a favor, hit subscribe and the bell. I make about one of these videos a week. They are all great, so please don't miss even one. After The Acolyte, I feel like Star Wars fans could use a little palate cleanser. Yes, I'm aware that by and large people did not like The Acolyte as a series. I gotta say I didn't totally either, but I feel like there were among the major negatives, like dialogue and flat cinematography and some odd storytelling choices, some very good lightsaber fights, some interesting characters, and at least one or two characters worth exploring a little bit more. So, I'm not here to discuss Acolyte though, just Skeleton Crew. At the end of the day, I want Star Wars to feel like a fun adventure set in a galaxy far, far away. And Skeleton Crew has turned a mashup of kids' pirate fiction into something that I was very surprised to enjoy as much as I did. The story opens with a band of pirates raiding a ship in a classically cinematic Star Wars style, reminiscent of the opening of New Hope. You know what I'm talking about. A giant ship looming over another ship, over a planet, over a field of stars. Great. All I needed. For some reason, whenever I see that in any kind of Star Wars media, I'm always pretty immediately reassured that they at least kind of understand it. After discovering the magnetic vault contained only one single Republic credit, the head pirate was turned on by his crew, cut to a paradise planet. Well, a suburb. Wim and Neil are kids who live on a seemingly suburban and boring planet. I have to admit that I initially found this just a little corny, how perfectly reminiscent it felt of 80s suburban America. But anyway, they're on a planet called At-Aten at a time shortly after the Empire has fallen and hyperspace piracy has become increasingly common. The pair long for adventure. While Wim is left to his own devices by his geeky but hard-working dad, he manages to skip a test and discover a hidden vault. He returns with Neil, Fern, and KB, a child cyborg who connects to the vault, which it turns out is actually a ship that Wim manages to accidentally activate the autopilot on and the hyperdrive, sending the four of them past the barrier that covers the planet and into space. The crew finds themselves at the pirate port Borgo after SM-33, or SME, yeah, way to bury the lead on that, played by Nick Frost for crying out loud, sends them there. There, Fern and KB tell a lady that they're from At-Aten, which she takes as a joke. The crew discover that the few Old Republic credits that they have are insanely valuable, and what's more, At-Aten, their home, is a legend, a hidden planet of eternal treasure that nobody believes actually exists until they find them. Gunter, played by Steve freaking Urkel, Jaleel White, and Brutus the Werewolf. That dude is played by Fred Tatasciatore, who is honestly the voice of at least one of your favorite characters, anything from Detective Chimp to the Incredible Hulk. Take the crew after beating up Smee. The four are then thrown into the brig and confronted by a mysterious character who uses what appears to be the Force to steal a key, making Wim believe that he's a Jedi, a notion that that man does nothing to disabuse. That person is Jod Nanawad, played by Jude Law. The show is clearly made for kids, with the intent of telling what seems like a Goonies meet Treasure Island meet Star Wars style story. Despite that, it's incredibly fun and engaging with pretty surprising performances from the main cast of kids and adults. And of course, that's not to say that Star Wars made for kids is something that's bad. A New Hope was clearly marketed to people who were under 20. Clone Wars and Rebels are some of the best pieces of Star Wars in the last 20 years, and they were definitely aimed at kids. But there's plenty for Star Wars fans, especially if you like deep-cut random aliens. There's a Cuzo in the background. You remember Constable Zuvio, who got cut from The Force Awakens, but they made a figure out of him that I bought? Anyway, look, that's not exactly a reason to be super stoked per se, but the overall look and feel of this feels much more Star Wars than most other Star Wars has in a little while, save for, you know, Andor or parts of The Mandalorian. I missed dirty, kludged together garbage ships, weird aliens, wretched hives of scum and villainy, and this scratches that itch pretty well. What I'm hoping for here is a series that somehow relates to the overall Star Wars mythos and legend without directly linking to the Skywalker saga. My guess is Fern's mom, Farah, and Wim's dad are aware, as perhaps many other adults on AT-ATN are, that their planet is special and generally recognized as a place of eternal treasure, whatever that ends up meaning, and are in on the creation and maintenance of that barrier that probably keeps them hidden. My guess is there's potentially an ancient Jedi temple, even on AT-ATN, or more surprisingly, it could be a Sith temple or a Kyber deposit, something incredibly valuable yet folded into that overall mythos of Jedi versus Sith, as sort of foreshadowed in the first episode, since Wim so desperately wants to meet a Jedi. Whatever it is, I'm glad that despite this show feeling a little less serious, but a little more adventurous, it does manage to feel special again, fresh and fun in a way that a lot of recent Star Wars certainly hasn't. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been the Doomcast. We'll see you again next week.